Hello and welcome back to Norfolkfords. Today I thought we would look again at the mighty Merlo. We have had the Merlo for over a year now, and I just sort of want to look back, reflect, and sort of let you guys know how we've been getting on with it. So we are now, I'm going to double check this on the dash quickly. We've now got about 200 hours on the dashboard, so I wouldn't say, 229. I wouldn't say we are heavy users of telehandlers. We're very feast or famine on our farm, but everybody in the yard agrees it's the first time they've ever driven a telehandler that you enjoy working with. You enjoy, you look forward to using it, which I feel like is a badge that not many telehandlers can wear. Now, Owen, I know you're already typing in the comments. Yes, you're a very big JCB, what do you call them? Pivot steer. You're a big pivot steer fan. And yeah, full spec JCB probably would be more comfortable. But pound for pound comparison, so, you know, similar spec level. This isn't a super high spec machine, but for pound for pound, this is a brilliant machine and we love it. So, like I said, we're very feast or famine on our farm when it comes to using the telehandler. So it'll have a hard week and then probably a couple of weeks where it does very little. So usual jobs, especially over the winter, it will weekly push up the wood chip. That'll take an hour at most, depends if we've had a full lorry load in. And it is very capable. And the biggest reason why is, and it's cheating really, it doesn't really need it. You've got the diff lock button. You just lay your foot on that. You haven't got to cram it down like you're in the 4, 6, 10 sort of thing. You just lay your foot on that, the diff is engaged, and you've just got so much guaranteed traction out of this thing. The pushing power is incredible. And that's something else I kind of want to get into. So occasionally I'll pick up a load of muck locally sort of thing. And this telehandler is rated to pull 20 tons on the pickup hitch. Not many telehandlers. I know there's a lot more starting to get wise to this to do with the regulations and stuff. They're starting to come out a lot more where they are rated on the pickup hitch, but Merlo have been for a long while. It's rated for 20 tons and it can pull. I will fully load this with muck and pull it up a flyover, and don't get me wrong, she's begging, but she's going forward in the high gear because there's two ranges on this. There's the low gear, which is more of your work, and then you've got your road gear. But in the road gear, that will beg that down, and that will still pull about 30k uphill. So fully loaded, she does well. So yeah, today we're on quite a nice job. We're collecting up the net at the end of the tulip harvesting. Not really done much with the tulip harvesting this year. Myself, I've been busy getting my combine ready and stuff like that, but this is the last job we have to do leaving the field, because obviously this isn't biodegrade. We have to send it off, dispose of it in the best ways we can really, and make sure that we don't leave any in the field, because it's not going to do any good for the wildlife and such. So this is one of the last jobs. So yeah, dead easy. 20 ton hitch on the back. There she is, chunky old thing. The mirror is just lined up right that you can see it quite well. The last one we had, it was a bit of a battle to see really, and it's, even though it had a mirror. Yeah, so Simon's with the T7. He's doing the main run into the tip. And yeah, I just brought an empty trailer out and I've just moved fields, you know, well easy. It's now just a little bit past lunchtime. We've nearly done. This is the last bit. I'm waiting for him to come swap the trailer. This will go on the last one. And I should probably meet him back that way with this. It's only a half load, so I might as well pull it halfway to him and swap over there. When it comes to the telehandler itself, all the grease points are very easy to get at. There's very few of them. There's a couple around the headstock here. There's a couple top and bottom of every ball joint, not ball joint, steering joint. And the boom, we haven't really greased it, but the grease stays on there quite nicely, and we never really have it squeak or squeal that much when we're using it. The bail grab, absolutely brilliant idea getting one of those. We used to have a fork, so we didn't have the top bit that came down. It kind of makes us think why we ever bothered having a fork without a grab, because this is just amazing. Like, look at this is how we're loading up the net. Grab one at a time, you can just scoop under it, shake the soil off, and away you go into the trailer. Jobs are good, and you can stack it fairly neatly. I've left space at the back there just because my trailer's set up with the rollover sheet, so I can't really take that off with the sheet on. I'd have to take the sheet off as well, because if not it'd fall in the trailer. So yeah, I have to leave a little bit of a gap so when he tips up the bottom can slide out underneath it and those top ones will fall in after. But yeah, quite happy with the maintenance on it. Very easy, just to run around with a grease gun. Takes you 10 minutes at most, really. Under the bonnet, everything's so visible you'd be foolish not to check it. Dipsticks there as well as in the seat, but that's besides the point. If anybody's thinking of getting one, I would say well, I do it anyway. You bang out the filters more than I was expecting. That's probably the one thing that I'd say I wasn't expecting. Because of how well that engine works, I reckon, it really does suck in the dust. Even though when you shut the bonnet, the air intake's quite high, it's sort of shoulder height. But you will end up banging out that filter. And if you don't, the engine does start overheating. That's probably the only thing. But again, it's more of a point of maintenance. Make sure you blow it out. Like today, I blew it out this morning because I obviously knew we were doing the road miles with it. But that will get hot if you do not blow out the air filter. That's probably the only thing I'd say surprised me. It's just something to bear in mind. I don't know, maybe not all Merlos do it, but ours certainly does. And I can't say I dislike it anymore because of it. So coming around the front to the hydraulic sort of couplings, they're very special screw-on set, which I think in the initial review I did talk about. So you put them on, they screw on instead of just being a push fit. This is just holding it out of the way. This pipe is the main release for your buckets. Cool, this is hard to put on. There we go. So they are a pullback collar as well as a screw on. I like the idea quite a lot. We've not had any issues with it, but then again we've not used the grab all too much in its lifetime, so we don't tend to use the block too much, but it works quite well. I think it works quite well. One thing that I would say confused me for a start, I got some weld-on brackets to transfer over my I had a flat 8 bail grab on the JCB. I got some brackets to swap it over, welded them on a treat. But the hydraulics are always to float, if that makes sense. There's probably a better term for it. But as soon as I stop pulling the trigger in the cab, the boom will go to float. So it's actually on the headstock here. You can see the diagram on it. That's keeping these rams pressured. So it's butterfly valves, that's what you call them. So when I hooked on my old bail grab, which is older than I am for sure, I was a bit surprised when I picked up an 8. As soon as I let go of the switch, did they drop on the floor? So I rang up Tim at the dealership and he explained, oh yeah, the boom just goes to float. You'll just have to put a block on or hold the trigger. And I thought about putting a block on, but this year I thought, no, I ain't going to do too many bales this year. Waste of time. I'm sure Strawman in the comments will be agreeing, although the price is apparently quite good this year, according to Farmers Weekly. We come back to the cab. So the cab, like I said, everybody on the yard is quite pleased to drive this machine. Everybody likes this machine. It's comfortable, the aircon works, keeps lovely, you know, you set the temperature right. This is a lovely cab to be. The radio's quite good, and the sunshade does an alright job. You know, these sort of dotty ones don't always put the sun out your eyes the right way, but to be fair, probably it's the metal guard on top which does a lot of the work, but that's besides the point. It is still a comfortable cab. As you can see, I'm out and about today, so luckily I've got a smallish lunchbox, so I've got somewhere to put it. If not, you'd have to balance it on top of the fuse box cover, like I'm sure many people do. So, you know, it's a telehandler. I shouldn't complain for lack of space, but I would say my flask of tea is quite important, and there's not a cup holder big enough to put it. So at the minute, I'm just sort of having to keep it in the corner there with the heel of my boot. But if that's the most I've got to complain about, it's really not a bad cab, is it? I mean, the armrest is exactly where it should be. The joystick falls to hand quite nicely as you sit in your driving position. Sometimes when you, like I say, pulling the trailer with, you know, going after some horse muck, it would be nice to have an armrest this side, but most telehandlers don't have an armrest that side. So I'm having to be quite nitpicky when it comes to the comfort. All the switches, like I said in the original review, are exactly where they should be. Reverser fan works quite well. Sometimes it's not the most powerful, so you will have to sweep off your radiators by hand, but then again, we like the machine, so you can't complain too hard about it. You need to be checking your radiators anyway. You shouldn't be relying on it, but yeah, maybe could be more powerful. But because we like the machine, I feel very forgiving of the very few faults that I have with it. Now, this is probably a gripe, but this is also probably me not understanding. That, to me, is cruise control symbol, right? You push it and it does nothing. So you press the switch this way and it switches between your driving modes like eco and heavy load. I tend to keep it in heavy load. It works quite well with the trailers, like I said. But when you're cruising down the road, like I said, it'd be nice to flick that and it actually works as a cruise, but I've not figured out how to do it. I've held it down, I've tried a few different bits and pieces, but yeah, not convinced. Anyway, the auto rev I still think is a brilliant feature and every telehandler should have it. That's engaged here with this switch, so that's turned on, so it's just always revving. That's now turned on, so it only revs when I engage the hydraulics. So really good feature. Saves you having to, you know, drop the clutch and rev your nuts off as you're trying to boom out and stuff. This machine works very seamlessly for loading trailers, pushing up piles, because the functions are just working. You're not having, you know, with that switch engaged, the pedals are just for moving now. You know, the joystick is sorting itself out because it's got the limiter running itself. It's very simple. Obviously this is a bigger counterweight than what we had before. We've not had much trouble with overloading. If we have, it's just because we've filled the bucket a bit too much with soil, and it's very simple. You've got the override so that you can boom back in and tip out and say you're safe to travel again. So I'm just really pleased with the machine a year on. Like I said, we haven't really worked it hard like a lot of people would. I'm sure a lot of people would have already put 1,000 hours onto a telehandler by now, but our 229 hours have been really well enjoyed by everybody on the farm, and nobody's got a bad word to say about this telehandler at all. But Lewis, I hear you say from the comments below, has it actually had any problems? Well, it's had two. The first call out we had to it was for the air conditioning. On the dashboard there is the button for the aircon and that little light there that shows you it's on. If that starts flashing, the air conditioning system is not working. So we had that happen around Christmas time. The light just came on, and of course flashy light in the corner of your eye, you eventually ask the question. So we asked the question, they said, oh yes, that's your air conditioning, we'll come out and fix it. And it was fine for a few more weeks. It then went wrong again, started flashing, but you know, wasn't even spring at that point, so we weren't too worried about it, and we'd come back to it when it was actually needed, such as a lovely hot July day today. Not many July days have been lovely and hot like this, I know, but you know what I mean. We finally got it fixed last month when that just started to properly warm up, because we knew we had a lot of work coming up for the telehandler with daffodils and tulips and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, not been a problem since, touch wood, and hopefully that'll be the only problem we have with the air conditioning. But when it works, the air conditioning is so sweet, very good. The only other problem we've had is more our own fault, really. We let the air seat go down too low. We kicked one of the switches off by mistake, the actual raise and lower on it, and because of that, the seat was on the deck and we bounced on it. We cut the wire in the seat by mistake, which is the bomb on your seat sensor. So those are the two problems that we have had. So in a year, I wouldn't call that horrendous, but we will keep an eye. And of course, YouTube, we will let you know when something actually does go wrong with the Merlo. Hopefully, it doesn't.
So, my final thoughts on the Merlo. It's very simple. I love it. I will die on this hill. I think the Merlo is a fantastic machine for what you pay for it. It's very comfortable, it's very user-friendly, and everybody on our farm genuinely looks forward to driving it. There is no problems that we have had that we can't overcome with such a brilliant multi-tool. And I would like to stress the fact we have not got a very high spec machine. We've got pretty much the standard spec. What we've got additionally is the engine management, the device I was talking about earlier, which manages your engine revs when you're using the joystick. We've got the air conditioning, we've got boom suspension, and we've got LED lights. I would not call that excessive, but those few features should be the standard that you get if you are looking at a Merlo, without a doubt. Makes it such a user-friendly machine. Everything is such a breeze. There is no such thing as a chore when it comes to this machine. I will die on this hill. I absolutely love the product. And I would like to thank Cranworth Farm Services for bringing the machine to us and helping us out with the very few and minor problems that we've had. The servicing has been pretty good from the guys as well, and they have been helpful every time we've rung them. So thanks again to Tim and the boys. And of course, if you're in Norfolk, I recommend giving them a ring and just speaking to them about the product, because it is well worth having a demo if you're now looking at getting a new telehandler. The Merlo should be on your list to try. May not be for everyone, but for me, again, I will die on this hill. I think it's fantastic, and I stand by it.
Right then, we're nicely loaded up again, and yeah, I'm going to take this back to the church field. We're close to the tip, and as you can see, hitch picks up a fully loaded trailer, quite nice and easy. Plumb in your brakes, plumb in your light, and then just cable tie up the extras. You can tip with this, but I can't say I really want to, because here's the pipes that run the hitch, so you pop them out and then you can tip a trailer, but obviously I've got 3 pipes and there's only 2 ports, so yeah, not really doable with the Merlo, but I guess you could. Anyway, she's got far better features than tipping trailers. At least you can tow 20 ton. Look at that. Beautiful bit of loading. She's ready to roar.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, there is nothing more to say. I love the Merlo. I will die on this hill. Make sure you leave a comment if you disagree. If you do agree, let us know your stories of Merlo. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe for more of what we've got coming in the coming weeks. We've got more combining to do, so we're going to have plenty more axle flow footage coming very shortly. We've got a few more spanner jobs as well, so hopefully some good videos coming along soon. Thank you very much once again, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.